Hi, welcome back to Christine's Home Affairs. About a week or so ago, I showed you how to make a shopping tote. I wanted a new one for myself, and this was it here. Inside the bag, I've got a couple of little tabs where I can hang things, coin pouches, keys, that sort of thing. I wanted something for my glasses. So today we're going to make the simplest glasses pouch you can possibly imagine. So simple, in fact, that I managed to get it completely wrong and I had to make the pouch all over again. It is incredibly simple as long as you don't do what I did. This is the glasses pouch. It's got a little plastic snap at the top and it's got a little bit of padding on the inside as well. So it's just a really simple tube with a tab that hangs at the top that I can clip to the inside of my bag and it'll sit there nicely, and I've got easy access to my glasses. I think we should have a dozen tabs hanging around on the inside of our bag so that we can just hang everything. Anyway, come along. I'm going to show you how to make this glasses pouch the right way. I'll also show you what I did wrong and how I'm going to fix that by turning my mistake into something else. Come along. Okay, for this project we need very little. I'm going to use the same fabric that I used in that shopping bag I made the other day. It's a really pretty one with the ladies on it. For the outer fabric, we want two pieces that are 13 by 21 centimetres or 5 by 8 1/4 inches. For the lining fabric, we want two pieces that are 13 by 20 centimetres or 5 by 8 inches. And the reason we've got this just slightly smaller than the outer fabric is so that our lining sits inside our pouch a little bit better without it being baggy. And we need a couple of pieces of stabiliser. I'm just using a really lightweight Parlan. You can use whatever type of stabiliser you like as long as it's got a little bit of softness to it. That is 11 by 19 centimetres or 4 1/4 by 7 1/2 inches. We want two of those. I have a scrap piece of fabric to make a tab because I want this to hang inside my bag. This one is 7 by 4 centimetres or 3 by 1 1/2 inches. And it will suit the really narrow swivel clip. If you want to use a larger swivel clip to cut out your tab fabric, just cut it out at the size you need for your particular swivel clip. I'll be using the narrow one today. At the top, I'll probably put a plastic snap. Now we can get started. Take your stabiliser and place that over the top of your outer fabric, and we'll do that for both pieces. And you can see the stabiliser is a little bit smaller all the way around, and that's to cater for my 1 centimetre or 3/8 inch seam allowance. So my stitching line will be right beside the stabiliser. I'll fuse those together and then I'll be back. All right, whilst I was pressing the stabiliser to the fabric, I've also taken my little tab fabric, folded that in half to bring the raw edges into the centre, folded that in half again and pressed that as well. Normally I would go and take this to the machine and stitch down both long edges, but this is a really small piece and we don't need to worry about it today. We can put this straight over our swivel clip, fold that in half. I can take this to the machine and sew as close as I can get to the curved bar here without actually stitching over the metal. That will secure the clip in place here, and most of this is going to be hidden away inside the seam of our pouch, so there's very little fabric that's unstitched. It's never going to unravel, but if you feel as though you want to stitch down the long edges, you can go ahead and do that as well. I'm a bit lazy. Let's take both of our outer pieces of fabric. All right, you might notice I've changed my lining fabric. That's because I've made a really silly mistake, which I'll share with you later. The stabiliser has been fused to the wrong side of the fabric. If you're using a directional fabric, it's important to get this part right because this is where I went wrong before. I'm going to take the swivel clip that I've sewn together and place that in the centre at the top here. And I'll just quickly go and stitch that in place now. I've done that just so that I don't have to worry about it moving on me as we go to the next step. Take our lining piece and we'll place that right sides together, and we'll do the same for the other one. And you can see the lining is just a little bit shorter than the outer fabric. That will prevent the fabric from bagging up or bunching up on the inside later. Let's take this to the machine with our 1 centimetre seam allowance. We'll sew straight across both those edges. Probably should turn it the right way around so that you can see that stabiliser on the edge of the fabric. We're going to sew right along that stabilised edge. Where the tab is, I'll triple stitch over that. And once you've done that, separate the 2 fabric pieces. We're going to fold one seam toward the front of the pouch, and the other seam we're going to fold to the lining. I'll just finger press those in place. Now we can put the 2 layers together. So we'll place one over the top of the other, and by having the seams going in opposing directions here, so this one's faced that way, this one's this way, when we line up the join in the fabric here, you'll actually be able to lock the fabric together. So it'll lock in place on the edge here. It allows for a really nice even distribution of fabric, and it helps those seams line up nicely. We'll go and clip the rest of the edges together. On the lining, I'm going to leave an opening here for turning through later. Okay, we'll start sewing here with a back stitch and then stitch along beside the stabilised edges, and then continue on around until about here and leave an opening of about that size on one side. It's a 1 centimetre or 3/8 inch seam allowance all the way. I'll back stitch here and then continue on. When you get to the corner, just before you turn, I do actually like to go back 1 stitch and forward, turn the work around, go forward and back 1 stitch or 2, it doesn't matter, and then go forward again until you get to the other corner. And then repeat. You don't need to worry about doing that on the lining, unless of course you want to. And I'm coming up to the beginning again. I'm going to leave an opening along here. I'll back stitch now. At this point we can trim our corners. Find the opening and turn everything the right way around and poke out your corners. So once you've turned the bag the right way around, we've got our outer, our lining and our little clip here. Press that really well, and we've got our opening on the side here, which we can go and close up now. So I will quickly go and do that with a really narrow top stitch just on the side edge, then we'll get ready to top stitch. Okay, that's been closed up on the side. Now you can tuck your lining into the pouch. To tuck the lining in underneath, I just get a ruler and push the seam down as far as it'll go, and that'll help flatten that out. And with the top edges clipped together, I can now top stitch the lining and the outer fabric in place. Now let me show you what I did wrong before. This is the first bag that I made, but when I've sewn this, I've actually sewn the lining at the bottom end instead of at the top end. So my glasses case is not only upside down, but it can't hang because the glasses will fall out. Rather than wasting this, I'm going to turn it into something else, which means I will top stitch this one as well. This one is a little bit more fiddly to top stitch because there's not much area to work with, but we'll manage. As you run out of fabric, just bring the tube around and continue on. Okay, so our pouch is finished now, and this one's had the top stitching done at the bottom end. I'll show you what my plans are for that one in a moment. I'm going to put a couple of plastic snaps on this now. I've got a fair bit of bulk here from the tab that's sitting inside the lining. When I poke a hole in here, I want to come down a little bit further because otherwise these snaps won't sit properly. They'll end up falling apart. So poke a hole in the centre here, about where you want your snap to be, and we'll poke that hole all the way through all of those layers of fabric. I'll pop an end cap on the outside. Grab another one for the other side. And we can press that together. And there we have our finished glasses pouch, ready to be hung inside my bag. Pop it open, drop my glasses in, and they're fully protected. Let's deal with this one. I'll pop a snap in this first, but I need my glasses to see what I'm doing. And there's no tab in the way here, so I can go a little bit higher. And we can close that one as well. Now, to make this usable, I had a couple of ideas in mind. I thought I would bring this up, and then I've got a little closure here. I could sew up the side seam, and I've got an opening at the back there as well. Then I could fold the flap over and put another snap in if I wanted to. And this swivel clip I would actually fasten to the top, and then it would hang. But that creates so much bulk, so I've decided to keep it simple and fold this up. And all I'm going to do here is sew up the side seams. I might as well go around and top stitch the top edge while I'm at it. And then that will hang in the bag. So I'll have an opening at the top here, an opening in here. You could pop a couple of credit cards in here, some notes in there, but it would make a great little feminine hygiene pouch for ladies. So it's got a good square size in here. You'll fit a couple in the back there. You'll fit some in the front here, and they can hang around in your bag until you need them. So I think that's a good little save for that. I'll quickly go and sew the side seams and the top edge. There we have a crisis averted and no fabric wasted. You could easily slip your little pads in here, likewise on the inside, and you've got those nice and handy for you in your bag. And what we all came here for, the glasses pouch. Well, that turned out to be a really quick, simple project, didn't it? It's ideal for beginners. If you've never sewn before, this is absolutely perfect. If you've got little ones and you want to teach them to sew, give them a project like this. It's so useful as well. I mean, we all have sunglasses or reading glasses that we need to put in here, so I think it's perfect. The tab on the top is completely optional. You don't need to have that as well. If you like, you can make it a little wristlet strap and have that coming from the side. But having it on the top here means you can hang it inside your bag. And how about my mistake? It was just really silly. I put my swivel clip in at the correct end, but I sewed my lining seams at the bottom of the pouch instead of at the top. So just a really simple blunder, but I've managed to turn it into something else, so it's not going to waste. You can use it for notes. You can store your keys in there. Because this is going to hang like this, it's not going to lose anything inside your bag. So I think it's actually a good place to put some keys. Ladies' hygiene products will be perfect in there as well. Now, I think I mentioned earlier, should I sell this? I think I actually should. I've got so much scrap fabric, and this is a great one for scrap fabric. I've got so many scrappy pieces of stabilisers and waddings as well, that I think this would be a perfect little product to have in the shop. I just need to find some time. But I reckon these would be great in the shop. If I have them, I'll probably sell them for about $10 each. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I shall catch you next time. Bye for now.